So as promised, in today's episode, I'm going to show you all of the cool stuff that I picked up while I were at Cosmic Toys. If you watched the last episode, you'll see that recently we went to Cosmic Toys in Dewsbury, aka UK Kaiju Heaven, and came back with some real nice pieces. Now, I could have spent thousands in this shop, there was some real good stuff in store, but I'm really happy with the stuff that I came back with, and I'm looking forward to showing it you in more depth in this episode. I've also got some other good bits to show you as well that I reckon you might like, so if that sounds like a bit of you, sit back, make sure you're comfy, and get ready for some Slimehouse Toy Talk. But before we get into any of that, I'm going to show you something that's actually completely unrelated. So a couple of weeks ago, I was looking through my storage, and I thought that I'd pull these out for you, just because I thought that you lot might think that they're quite cool. Probably not, maybe not, but I like them, so yeah, we're going to have a look at them anyway. So what I've got for you here are a couple of boxes full of 90s Action Man and G.I. Joe Hall of Fame figures. And talk about toys that go under the radar. It's so bizarre to me that in this day and age, when all of the collectors are trying to buy the stuff that they had as a kid, that these go so underappreciated. Because I honestly can't think of a single kid when I was growing up that didn't have at least one of these. So why don't more people collect them? Are they not cool enough? Do not enough people post about them on Facebook groups to hype them up? What's going on? Now, I've covered Vintage Action Man quite a few times on this channel before, and when I say Vintage Action Man, I'm talking about 60s, 70s, 80s Action Man. These are all from the early 90s when Action Man had a big comeback, a big resurgence, and these are some of the first figures that came out when they released it again. So these are probably some of the rarer ones, especially like this with all of their weapons and all of their pieces and stuff, but it's really not saying anything because, like I said, there's not a huge fan base for these, so if you wanted to pick up any of the figures that I'm showing you here, then you really wouldn't have to pay a lot of money for them. What was also interesting about the 90s Action Man is just how different it was to the original Palitoy release stuff. Back then, pretty much all of the uniforms that he wore were based in reality, as in like replicas of uniforms that actually existed. But when we got to the 90s, he almost became like a completely different character. My friend Tony over at Analog Toys refers to him as an eco-warrior in this era, and I think that's a very accurate description. Gone were the days of Action Man fighting Russians and Nazis. This was the era of extreme Action Man, rollerblading through city streets, or bungee jumping off a bridge in a rainforest and taking out Dr. X, a villain that was a lot more suited to a Saturday morning cartoon.
Evil's a one-way street. Need a lift, X? Action Man's gyrocopter and Dr. X chopper.
But honestly, I never hated this change in tone. I think it was quite fitting for the era. And looking back, I really do think that some of these uniforms are quite iconic. And admittedly, yeah, some of them are a bit ridiculous. Some of them have so much armour and playability features that Action Man can barely stand up. But then you get awesome ones like this, the Ninja Warrior, that looks like it's straight out of the Octagon with Chuck Norris, or a Godfrey Ho movie. Check how dope this outfit is with the Sniffer Dog that looks like he's about to go and break up a drug trafficking operation. Like I said at the start as well, this is a mix of 90s Action Man and G.I. Joe Hall of Fame figures, so we've also got the Cobra Commander. I love how they've given him this wicked blue Executioner's hood. He's also got an awesome weapon loadout with a knife with a cobra carved into the handle. He's also got a briefcase where his weapons can fit inside. And check that to-do list, conquer the world. Now, I'm not going to go through all of these figures. I don't want the Action Man stuff to take up too much of this episode today. But I did just want to show them you, because I can guarantee that you've walked past these 100 times at a toy fair and never really paid them much mind before. As I said at the start as well, I really do like these figures. I've got a lot of love for them and I really enjoy getting them out and videoing them for these episodes. I've also got quite a few that I've not showed yet, so if you'd like to see some more worked into a future episode, then let me know because I'm more than willing to do that. And I'd also love to know from you lot, in this day and age when everybody's trying to buy up everything from their childhood, why is it that Action Man goes so under the radar? Alright, let's get stuck into the Cosmic Toys pickups. Now, I know that watching that episode last week, you'll have already seen most of what I came home with, but I wanted to sit down with you and really go through it all properly. So first off, we'll take a look at this Mothra that I bought. Now, the box that I grabbed this from was full of different Mothra toys, most of which were from the 90s Rebirth of Mothra trilogy. Now, as I said in that video, I'm not the biggest fan of these movies conceptually, because they're primarily aimed at a much younger audience, but the creature designs and the set pieces in them are incredible. Also, I didn't have a Mothra in my collection, so this seemed like a really great opportunity to add one to it. So this is the one that I went for, and it was mainly because out of all the other Mothras in the shop, this is the one that looked the most old school. Now this is made by Bandai, a toy company that started in the 1950s and still to this day makes the majority of the vinyl kaiju toys that come out of Japan. When I'm out in Tokyo, you can find lots of the smaller Bandai toys for like £5 in different shops. They're very common. I always grab lots of them when I'm there. And although they might not be the most collectible kaiju toys to vintage collectors, I personally still think that they're very awesome. I also really liked the size of this thing, and it was only when I got home and took it out of the box that I really could appreciate how nice the figure was and how cool the wings looked. I also dig how they're like slightly transparent. I noticed as well that the feet came on a separate sprue. Now when it comes to vintage toys that come with accessories on sprues, I'm always in two minds whether I want to cut them off and assemble them or keep them mint and untouched. And for me personally, it's always just down to that individual toy and how I feel about it. And in this instance, even though this is a toy with a window box display, so I'll be displaying it boxed anyway, I still couldn't help but wonder what she'd look like with her feet attached. And look how fly she looks now. So happy with this piece, a beautiful first Mothra to add to the collection, and the more I think about them, the more I feel like I should be on the lookout for more of these from this set, because I really do like this thing. Watch this space. So come we have a look at the model kits that I picked up at Cosmic Toys, starting with this one, the Aurora Rodan. Now I've always liked these kits. Aurora are probably the most well-known kits of movie characters that have ever existed, especially their Universal Monsters ones, but their Godzilla, King Kong, King Ghidorah and Rodan kits are all ones that I've always really wanted to get at some point, so it were very cool to be able to start that little collection with this one. Now this is a kit that originally came out in the 1970s. This is not an original one, this is a reproduction that came out in the 2000s, and the only way you can tell the difference is the box is different and then also the plastic of the actual figure is a different colour, which makes no difference to me because I'm going to be painting this thing anyway, and also with it not being an original, it makes me feel a lot less bad about cutting it up and sticking it together, which is something that I'll definitely be doing at some point. Also, ever since Bentlegs suggested we should do a Roadman Rodan, I can't get that image out of my head, so you do know that this thing's going to be stuck together and no doubt have a hat and a man bag or a chain or something like that. Not stuff that's glued to it, but definitely stuff that you can put on it and display it as the Roadman Rodan, because yeah, I love that. Now this one I'm really excited to get into. This is Gaios from the Gamera series, and not only is this just a dope kaiju kit, but it's also mechanized, so you fit a remote control inside it and it can walk back and forth. I've no idea how it works, but I'm super excited to give it a go. Now this came out in 1992, and there's a bunch of other cool kaiju in this series, including Gamera and Gappa, the Trifibian monster. Again, all kits that I'd love to own in the future. Something else that I really like about this kit as well is that the box art is just the poster from the movie, which means it's something that you can display nicely on its own merit, so you can have this displayed with the model in front of it. So I'm really looking forward to getting into both of these kits. I don't know when I'm going to have the time to do it, but yeah, at some point both of these are going to get smashed out and they're going to look awesome. Right, so we've done them. Get them out of the way. So another really cool thing that I picked up when we went to Cosmic Toys the other day was this VHS. Now this is an original G-Fest 2001 video, a videotape that was recorded of the event of that year, and since I put it in the episode, quite a lot of people have messaged me saying that they either used to have it or that they really want to see it. But what hit me with a bit of a curveball when I got home is that I realised this is an NTSC VHS, which means that it won't play on any UK VHS players. So I spent quite a few days last week trying to digitise this, and what I'm going to do now is throw you back to a few days ago, to last week, and let you know how I got on with trying to get this on my laptop. So I've got two VCRs that I can use to try and get this tape working today. The first one is this Sony VHS player, and this one's really nice, it plays stuff without any problems. Unfortunately though, it doesn't have NTSC playback. At least it doesn't say that it does. I've never tried an NTSC tape on it. Sometimes you can get lucky and they'll play anyway and it just doesn't say it on the actual player. But yeah, I'm going to try that one first.
Video will bring a little of G-Fest to all those who couldn't attend.
Yeah, as you can see, no dice, no joy. It's trying to work out the frame rate, it's playing in black and white. This is a classic example of what happens when a PAL VHS player tries to play an NTSC. Now this could just be because the heads need cleaning, it's probably not, but what I'll do is I'll take the lid off it just to try it anyway, give them a clean and see if that makes any difference. And no, It didn't make any difference whatsoever. So the other option that I've got is to use this Grundig VHS player. Now, this is one that's a little bit doomed. I've had this one since I was a kid, and this does chew tapes up. It sometimes spits them out. It sometimes traps them inside it. So it's one that I don't really like using. It is a last resort option, but it does have NTSC playback. So if I take the lid off it, I can keep an eye on the tape and make sure it doesn't chew it up or anything like that. And fingers crossed, this will work without any problems. Okay, so as you can see at the minute, it won't even accept a tape. It just keeps spitting it out. I'm also trying different VHS just to make sure that it's not this one in particular that it doesn't like. And yeah, right now, it doesn't want to accept a tape no matter what country it came from. So at the minute, the only way that I can get the tape to stay in is if I press down on this, which is not feasible because I need this thing to play for like an hour and a half. So I'm going to have to take this thing apart, give it a bit of a clean and see what's going wrong with it. So after a bit of a clean, it seems to kind of work now. I'm playing Return of the Living Dead, no problem, that's playing nice. But for some reason, it's not playing NTSC VHS now. I've tried this old King Kong vs. Godzilla NTSC that I've got, and it doesn't want to play that either. Now this is really strange because as a kid, I used to watch everything on this. But for some reason now, it just doesn't want to play any NTSC tapes in it. Now this has really got me confused because as I said, I used to watch everything on this. As a kid, I used to sit on Amazon at my Auntie Karen's house and I used to buy American VHS and Japanese VHS and they'd play no problem. So yeah, really got me stumped right now. So the problem that I've got is that this tape is an NTSC tape, which means it's an American one. It doesn't play PAL. So when you put it in the VHS player, it does come up, it does play, but it's in black and white and it's a little bit glitchy and stuff because I think it's trying to register it. I'm not techie enough to know the exact definition, but it doesn't play it properly and it plays it in black and white. When I put a nice normal VHS tape in, a nice British made one, that plays fine. So it's definitely a problem with it being NTSC. It's a real nice tape as well, there's no mould in it or anything like that, so I'm confident that it's not a buggered VHS tape. So the only other option I've got is to order a switcher online, and I can only seem to find them in America. When I'm typing in switcher on Amazon, it's giving me this kind of thing. These like converters and stuff, which I don't need. I've got a couple of different ones of them and they don't work. So it has to be an NTSC/PAL switcher. So I could try and order one from America. The only other option is that my friend Rob owns a VHS shop, a VHS museum. I've covered it before on this channel. And he's out in Alfreton. So we could possibly drive to his shop. He's got several VHS players and chances are one of them will play NTSC. So I'll catch back up with you when I decide what we do and hopefully we get it fixed. What makes it even more annoying is that I can see the footage on this tape very vaguely, and you can see how awesome it is and what potential it has. I'm looking at someone panning around a room full of awesome Godzilla and Kaiju merchandise and toys, and I can see people dressed like it's the early 2000s and it's super nostalgic, and I really want to be able to watch it properly. But right now, I'm just unable to view any of it other than through this black and white grainy image, and I think we could all agree that that's just not a vibe. So, try as I might, unfortunately, so far, I'm unable to get this VHS working. As you can see, when I put it in the VHS player, it's playing all flickery because it's trying to work out the frame rate. It's playing in PAL and not NTSC as it's supposed to. Also, it's playing in black and white because it can't seem to work out the colours. So it leaves me pretty stumped for now, but I have got some other options. As I said in that little clip, I've got friends over in Alfreton who run an actual VHS museum. So I can take it there because they've probably got numerous VHS players that it'll work on. Also, next week, I'm going to visit my friend Ollie from I Made This, which is an incredible YouTube channel. And I'm going to be filming his toy collection and having a look at the stop motion animation and stuff that he does because that's his whole career, working in stop motion animation. He's made videos for The Prodigy and all sorts of stuff, and that's going to be really awesome because I've also got a big bag of stuff there waiting for me that someone dropped off that I'm yet to go through. VHS tapes, old toys, loads of cool stuff, so that's also going to be awesome. And while I'm there, he says that he also has a VHS player that plays NTSC, so we could probably plug it in and digitize it while I'm there for those few hours. I'm also going to visit someone else while I'm over that way as well. It's over in Tamworth, which I'll talk about in a second. But yeah, some really cool stuff to look forward to over the next few weeks. And going to see Ollie and hopefully getting that digitized will be a nice little side mission to do while we're there. So if you're looking forward to that, then let me know. If you want to follow me on this journey, I haven't lost faith yet. I haven't lost all hope. So if you've got faith in me and you want to join me on this little journey to get this thing digitized so that I can watch it and you can watch it and we can all enjoy it together, then yeah, man, stick with me because hopefully Ollie is the guy to help us fix that. Now, something that you might not know about me I'm a massive fan of Generation 1 Transformers. I'm not a fan of every single adaptation of Transformers that's ever been made, but I'm a big fan of Gen 1. I grew up loving the cartoon, I know more than meets the eye word for word, and although I'm not a huge collector of Transformers toys, just because they're so hard to come by with all of their pieces, they're easily broken, it's just not something that I've got a big collection of, I'm a big fan of these guys, Robot Heroes. Now when these came out I thought they were awesome. Being a collector of minifigures and a fan of Gen 1 Transformers, these were a perfect mix of both of those things. They had all my favourite characters like Shockwave and Soundwave and Mirage and Bumblebee and Ironhide, and whenever I saw a pack in a shop that I didn't have I would always buy them. Now these figures come out in the late 2000s and I've always really liked the style of them. I love that they look like little cartoony graffiti characters, but they're not too cutesy, they don't look too childish, and I've also wanted to find a way to work them into an episode on the channel for a while, so when I saw one in Cosmic Toys that I needed, I was very happy because that was obviously my excuse to get them into an episode. And although I didn't mention it at the time when I picked it up in the video because we were mainly focusing on the Japanese kaiju stuff, when I saw this I was really happy. Now there's only a couple more that I need for this set. I need Optimus Prime, I also need Jazz, and then there's a couple of colour variants, like the red Bumblebee that's painted to look like Cliffjumper, and the blue Starscream that's painted to look like Thundercracker. So if you do have any of them, holler me because I'd really like to add them to this collection. Another reason why it was really cool to talk about these in this episode is because, as I just mentioned, next week we're going to go visit Ollie from I Made This, and on the same day, because we're going to be in Tamworth, we're also going to visit fellow YouTuber Toys R Us. So Russ is a guy that I know from the NEC Toy Fair. He's a big Transformers dealer, but not only that, he's also a guy that has what is probably one of the most impressive Gen 1 Transformers collections in England. He tells me that he's got every single Gen 1 Transformers figure boxed, as well as a bunch of other cool stuff. So really looking forward to going and hanging out with him for the day, checking out his collection, and getting a really nice episode for the channel. So there you have it, that's everything that I picked up at Cosmic Toys. A couple of really cool model kits, a Bandai Mothra, an old Godzilla G-Fest tape that I still can't get working, and a Robot Heroes Ultra Magnus. Oh yeah, and Bentlegs bought this shaver. He brought it round and I promised him that I put it in the video because he's really happy with it. It's a shaver that looks like Godzilla. A Godzilla shaver. That is all. So if you enjoyed this video today, then please don't forget to give it a like, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Had quite a few new subscribers last week, courtesy of Bill Making Stuff, who gave me a shout out on his channel. So if you're here because of Bill, then you're very welcome at Slimehouse TV. Let me know down below in the comments if you're here because of Bill. And also, if you've not checked out his channel, then please go and do it. I'm sure that I can't send as many followers his way as he sent over my way, but he's got one of my favourite channels in England. So make sure you go over and check his channel as well if you haven't already. If this is your first time checking out one of my videos, or if you've not really checked out the channel much before, then make sure you go back and binge the back catalogue, because if you enjoyed this video today, then chances are you're going to enjoy some of the other stuff that's on here as well. If you want to help support what I do, I also have a Patreon. That's patreon.com/SlimehouseTV. And if you want to drop me a message about anything, but you don't want to comment down below, then you can head over to Instagram at Theo_Kane_Slimehouse. You can drop me a DM on there. It's also the social media that I'm the most active on, so it's a great place to follow me if you want to keep up to date with everything else that I've got going on here at Slimehouse. I would also love to know what you think of these kind of episodes where it's just me kicking back in the office showing you some of the stuff that I've picked up, going through it, doing a little bit of model kit building and that kind of thing. I'd love to do more episodes like this that are a bit more chill, so it's just us kicking back in the studio, so that we can do episodes where we go to a toy show and do some toy hunting, or at a toy shop or an event or something like that, and then we can come back to the office, sit back, have a look at all the stuff that I've bought, go through it and film it nice. Let me know, what kind of videos do you prefer seeing on Slimehouse? With all that said and done though, I'm Theo Kane, this is Slimehouse TV, and I look forward to catching you in the next video, hopefully the one that we film with I Made This or with Toys R Us, because they're all going to be dropping in the next couple of weeks as well. But until those episodes, I'm gone. Pow!